Notts County Talk, welcome back to the channel for another edition of our game week predictions. This week we are back. We didn't have game week predictions last week as it was the FA Cup. As a Notts fan, the less said about that, the better. But we are back to preview this week's League Two fixtures. Let's get into it. Before we do start, I'm going to ask you to post your prediction in the comments section below. Now, the new predictions we're doing currently are for you to predict the first team or the earliest team to score. Now, there's two 12:30 kickoffs this week, and we're not looking for the first team to score in either of those games, or you might choose one of those games. It's just the earliest team to score. So, for example, if in one of the early kickoffs, a team scores in the 5th minute, but in one of the 3 p.m. kickoffs, or even in the Monday night game, which is Notts-Cheltenham, a team score after 5 seconds, they are still the earliest team to score in their match. So, leave a prediction. Last week, or 2 weeks ago, we had someone predict MK Dons to score in the 4th minute. They actually scored in the 5th minute. I think it was the other way around, actually. We had them to predict the 5th, and they scored the 4th. So it's very, very close to being done. Let us know your prediction in the comments. I'm going to go for Tranmere to score in the 2nd minute this week. But let's get on with our predictions. First game up is a half-tour kickoff then. It is Colchester against Bromley. Both sides in strange kind of forms. Colchester were doing really, really well. Then they've hit a blip. 1 point from their last 2 games, albeit one was against MK Dons where they did lose, and one was against Swindon. So 2 very good sides. Bromley, on the other hand, are just deciding to win and then lose, win and then lose. Both sides have scored 21. Both sides have conceded 18. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in this one. Crewe against Shrewsbury then is the other 12:30 kickoff. I'm going to go early with this one. I think the home advantage is going to be too much in this game. I think Crewe are going to get the victory. Shrewsbury have made some improvements over recently. They started the season very, very poorly. Crewe, it was looking as though fans were starting to get on the manager's back a bit. Then they got that win against Notts. Awful game for a Notts fan, another penalty, and then they sort of went on a bit of a run. 9 points from a possible 15, so that's not poor at all. You're nearly averaging 2 points a game with that. Shrewsbury, I did predict them to be mid-table at the end of the season. I think they may reach that spot, but they need to make some steady improvements because teams down there have decided to start to win. For example, Cheltenham. I'm going to go for the home win now. I'm going to go 2-1 to Crewe. The 3 o'clock kickoffs then, it is Barnet against MK. I'm giving Barnet v MK my gold star game of the game week. I think it's going to be a very, very good game. Went to Barnet a few weeks ago with Notts when Tyrese Hall scored that very, very late goal, but they should have scored a fair few as well. Only a very good save by Kel Roos denied them taking the lead in the first half. I think they'll make it very, very difficult for MK. MK, the joint top scorers in the league with Grimsby, and right at the start of the season in the game week predictions, we started to talk about their signings. We backed off a bit because, everyone knows those signings, but they're now starting to come to the forefront. They've got 4 wins in 5. They got an uncharacteristic loss to Bromley. But I think they're just going to go from strength to strength. I think they nick an away win here, but I think it's going to be a cracking game. I think it's going to be 2-1 to MK. Next up, Barrow against Grimsby. As I said, Grimsby joint top scorers with MK, 27 goals scored, sit in a decent position. Barrow started to pick up a little bit recently. They're a difficult side to go to. I always do think that no matter who you are, I know some people will have stories where they've gone and battered them, but they're a difficult side. It's a tough one. It's a really tough one. And I do think that despite Grimsby scoring so many goals, I don't see it being straightforward for them. I see it being a bit of a score draw in this one. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. Bristol Rovers against Gillingham, 2 sides that are absolutely desperate for a result. Desperate for a result. Gillingham have dropped off a cliff. I don't know what's happened to them recently. Bristol Rovers did get a win in the Cup against Bromley, but in each of their last 3 league games, they've conceded 4 goals, scoring 1. That's to Crawley, Tranmere, who are not frequent goal scorers, and MK Dons, which is slightly understandable. You've got a side with a decent defence in Gillingham, despite losing quite a few games recently. Their defence is decent. They don't really concede more than 2 goals at most. I know they did in the Cup against Newport, but that's a little bit different. I think this is going to be a really cagey game, and I think you're going to have to see a side get a victory. I don't think they're going to draw. I think both sides have to get a win. Who do I go with? Do I go with Bristol Rovers, who are the side up there, or do I go with the home side, or do I go with Gillingham? I think there's going to be more misery heaped on Bristol Rovers despite being the home side. I think Gillingham find a way to sneak a 1-0 win. Next up, Chesterfield against Accrington, 7th against 21st. Chesterfield have 1 defeat in their last 5 games. Accrington have 1 win in their last 5 games. I'm going to keep this very short, very sweet. I see absolutely no way that Accrington go to Cheltenham and get anything other than a solid 3-0 beating. Crawley against Fleetwood is an interesting one. Fleetwood, I think, are doing as expected from me pre-season. 1 defeat in the last 4 games. They're 10th in the league. They're 2 off. Well, they're 1 off the playoffs. They are 3 off automatics and 4 off top spot. The league is tightened up massively. Crawley are definitely not doing as I expected at the start of the season. I thought they would, come down and be competitive, but they don't seem to be competitive at all. And then they're second to bottom, 12 points. If they hadn't got this result against Bristol Rovers, which was an absolute anomaly, they would be rock bottom of the league. They beat Bristol Rovers 4-0. It's a very, very tough one to call. Very, very tough one to call. I'm going to go 1-1. Harrogate against Oldham next up, 18th versus 19th. In the last 5 games, well, the last 10 games combined, there's been 1 victory, and that was a Harrogate victory. So Oldham winless in 5 games. I give a gold star game each week. I've given it to Barnet MK. This would be sort of the complete opposite of that. I don't see this being a very good game at all. I think both teams will be scared to lose this game. One team, Oldham on 16 points, Harrogate on 14 points, 2 points and 4 points respectively above the relegation zone, with teams below them, i.e. Shrewsbury, Cheltenham, starting to pick up a little bit of form. I think it's a must not lose for both teams. You look up, you get a victory, you could start to move within sort of 5 points of the playoff. So important game, but I think it's going to be a 0-0. Newport at home to Walsall. Are we starting to see the Walsall wheels fall off? Great start to the season. Many didn't want Matt Sadler in, but he's got them to the top of the league, and all of a sudden they are 1 point from their last 3 games. Lost 2 of their last 2, and the draw making up that 3-game or the 3-league game drought. Newport are rock bottom of the league and are struggling, although have picked up 2 victories in their last 3 games. And I think this is going to go with the home side in this one. I think we could see, and this might get people on Matt Sadler's back a little bit if they don't get the victory, I think we could see Newport getting a 2-0 win. Salford versus Cambridge. Both teams have won 2 of their last 5 games. The only difference is that Salford have won their most recent 2. Cambridge came to Meadow Lane in the last league game, and they were absolutely awful. They set up as if they were petrified to concede a goal, and when they did, they didn't try to attack. I know a lot of Cambridge fans went home from that game very, very disappointed, and if that's what I've got to go off their most recent game, I would be very concerned with Cambridge going to Salford. I think Salford will have far too much for them. If they go in the same vein, they will be solidly beaten. If they go and try to attack, I still think Salford will have too much for them. I think Salford win this game 2-1. The last of Saturday's games then is Swindon at home to Tranmere. You've got 2 of the top 3 scoring players playing. You've got Amari Patrick, 6 goals this season for Tranmere. You've got Drinnan, who has got 10 goals, scored 2 against Notts, unfortunately, when I went a couple of weeks ago, playing for Swindon. Swindon have not won in 3 league games. Tranmere have won 1 of their last 5. So both teams going in there in a bit of rocky form. I did say right at the start of the video, I think Tranmere are going to get the early goal in this game week, so I've got to give a goal to Tranmere. Amari Patrick will get that for them, and I think Swindon will start to turn it around. Despite Tranmere scoring 4 a few weeks ago, I don't think they're massive goal scorers. I'm going to go with a 3-1 Swindon win. The final game of this game week then is a very odd one. Who decided to put Cheltenham v Notts on a Monday night? Cheltenham fans don't want it, Notts fans don't want it, and neutrals certainly don't want to spend their Monday watching that game. Maybe it's because the game was absolutely outstanding last season and Notts won 5-3 away at Cheltenham in one of the best games of football I've seen in years and years. Some incredible goals, end-to-end stuff, one team scoring, one team equalising. It was a brilliant game of football. I think Notts have to go there and get something after losing to Brackley, who are obviously non-league, and then losing with Man United under 21 fans, O'Lane at Meadow Lane, with some of the passes they were doing. Disappointing. Patterson will want them to really step it up, but Cheltenham are on an absolute great run of form. Steve Cotterill, former Notts manager, taken over and has absolutely rocketed them up the league. In terms of points, they've absolutely rocketed up, but they needed it badly because there would have been rock bottom after that massive 7-1 loss to Grimsby. It's been a massive turnaround in fortunes. They're going in on a high. We're going on in a little bit of nerves. Will it carry on? Will that poor run or the poor performances carry on from the last two cup games? Hopefully not, and hopefully they go back to the great, form we've had in the league. We sit currently in 5th, 25 goals, plus 10 goal difference. Cheltenham sit all the way down in 20th, minus 15 goal difference. A lot of that with that 7-1 defeat to Grimsby. I think it's going to be a tough game. I'd be delighted to walk away with a win. Would I hate a point? Absolutely not. Win your home, draw your away. That's what we've been doing recently. Tough to call. I think we might sneak something there. I think we're going to sneak a 1-0. And that wraps up this week's game week predictions. As I said at the start, please put your prediction of which team will score earliest in the whole of the league. So which will score earliest in their game. I went for Tranmere in mine. Put it in the comments, put them in it. And if you do predict it correctly, we'll give you a shout out in next week's video. Very close, 1 minute out in the last game week predictions. But thank you for watching. Please do leave a like. Let's aim for 50 likes on this video. And subscribe to the channel. Wherever you're watching, whichever game you're watching this weekend, or if it's Monday's game, have a safe journey and enjoy the match.